All right, so it looks like we're diving into UX writing today. You've handed us a pretty hefty stack of readings, too. Textbook excerpts, articles, even a sneak peek at the tech tools that the pros are using. Consider us your guides through this fascinating landscape. We're going to unpack the core of UX writing, what it is, why it matters, and even touch on the skills you need to really excel. By the end of this, you'll see why this field is booming. Seriously, some UX writers are making serious banker writers.
It's true. And what's fascinating is that a lot of people don't even realize they're experiencing good UX writing until it's gone wrong.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Like when you're trying to book a flight and the website throws up a cryptic error message that leaves you totally stranded. That's bad UX writing in action.
Exactly. Studies actually show that encountering even a single confusing microcopy can increase a website's bounce rate by a whopping 80%.
Hmm?
Good UX writing, on the other hand, is like a well-oiled machine guiding users seamlessly towards their goals.
Okay, that makes total sense. So if I'm picturing this right, good UX writing is almost invisible. It's working behind the scenes to make things smooth and effortless for the user.
You nailed it. Think of it like the signs in a well-designed airport. You don't consciously notice them, but they effortlessly guide you to your gate baggage claim or that much-needed coffee shop.
That's a great analogy, and it makes me realize how much UX writing we encounter every day. From websites and apps to those little instructions on our smart appliances.
Exactly. It's everywhere in the digital world, and it's becoming increasingly important as businesses realize that a great user experience can make or break their success.
So let's say I'm intrigued by this whole UX writing thing, and I want to explore it as a career. What kind of skills are we talking about here? Is it just about being a good writer?
Being a good writer is definitely the foundation, but there's so much more to it than that. A UX writer needs to be a master of empathy, able to step into the user's shoes and understand their needs, motivations, and frustrations.
Empathy. That makes sense. You're not just writing words, you're crafting an experience for another human being. It's like being a digital mind reader.
That's a great way to put it. And another crucial skill is the willingness to break the rules of traditional writing. Think about those error messages we were talking about earlier. Sometimes you need to ditch the formality and get straight to the point, even if it means using sentence fragments or starting a sentence with a conjunction.
Okay, that's interesting. I've always wondered how UX writers tackle those lengthy legal notices. Is there a way to make those less daunting without sacrificing accuracy?
Absolutely. Even legal notices can be made more user-friendly. It's about using clear headings, bullet points, and concise language to break down complex information into digestible chunks. And sometimes a well-placed visual or illustration can go a long way.
That makes sense. It's about making even the most technical content accessible and understandable. Now let's get a little geeky here. How do UX writers actually learn about their users? I imagine there are some fascinating research methods involved.
You're right. There's a whole toolkit of research methods that UX writers use to gain insights into user behavior. One fascinating technique is called think aloud protocols. Imagine watching someone use an app and hearing their thoughts in real time. It's like a window into their thought process.
Wow, that sounds incredibly insightful. It's like being a fly on the wall, observing how users interact with the content and identifying any points of confusion or frustration.
Exactly. And another powerful research method is eye tracking. By tracking users' eye movements as they navigate a website or app, we can see what elements are catching their attention, what they're overlooking, and how they're scanning the content.
Okay, that's blowing my mind a little. It's like we're peeking into the user's brain, seeing the world through their eyes.
It is. And what's really fascinating is that eye tracking studies have revealed a pattern called the F pattern, which shows how users often scan web pages. They typically start by reading across the top of the page, then move down the left side, forming an F shape with their eye movements.
Wow, I can totally see that. I definitely tend to skim online content and focus on headings and images.
You and almost everyone else. Understanding the F pattern helps UX writers structure content in a way that's easy to scan and digest.
So all this research is basically fueling the creation of content that actually works. Content that's tailored to how real users behave, right?
Absolutely. All this research helps UX writers create user personas, which are fictional representations of their target audience, and journey maps, which outline the steps a user takes to achieve a specific goal. These tools provide a roadmap for crafting content that meets users' needs at every stage of their journey.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of empathy, breaking the rules, and conducting user research. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, AI. How is artificial intelligence impacting the world of UX writing? Is it coming for our jobs?
That's a question on everyone's mind. AI is rapidly evolving, and it's already being used in various aspects of UX writing, from generating initial drafts to analyzing user data. But here's the key takeaway. AI is a tool, not a replacement for human creativity and understanding.
Okay, that's reassuring. So it's more about AI assisting us, not replacing us.
Exactly. Think of it like this. AI can help us with the heavy lifting, like generating product descriptions or writing basic chatbot scripts. But it's still the human UX writer who brings the empathy, the creativity, and the strategic thinking to the table.
So it's about finding that balance between AI assistance and human expertise.
Precisely. And a skilled UX writer will know how to leverage AI effectively, using it to streamline their workflow and free up more time for those tasks that require a human touch.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I've heard this term prompt engineering being thrown around a lot when it comes to AI. What exactly does that mean in the context of UX writing?
Prompt engineering is basically the art of crafting effective instructions for AI. Think of it like giving AI a recipe. If you don't provide the right ingredients and instructions, you might end up with a dish that's, well, let's just say, not very appetizing.
Uh-huh. I love that analogy. So it's not just about telling AI to write something. It's about giving it clear, specific instructions so it can generate the desired output. Exactly. And a skilled UX writer will be able to craft prompts that elicit the best results from AI, ensuring that the generated content is relevant, accurate, and aligned with the overall brand voice.
Okay, that's incredibly insightful. So AI can be a powerful tool for UX writers, but it's important to remember that it's just that, a tool. It's the human writer who's ultimately in control, using their skills and expertise to create truly exceptional experiences.
Exactly. And as AI continues to evolve, I think we'll see even more exciting applications for it in the world of UX writing. But one thing's for sure, the human element will always be at the heart of creating truly engaging and effective user experiences. It really will be interesting to see what the future holds. Speaking of creating memorable experiences, let's shift gears and talk about how UX writing shapes a brand's identity. It's not just about functionality, it's also about creating a cohesive and engaging brand experience, right?
Absolutely. Think about those brands you instantly recognize just from their tone of voice, like how a certain outdoor apparel company uses a very adventurous and inspiring tone in all their marketing materials. That's UX writing playing a key role in shaping brand perception.
Exactly. A brand's voice is like its personality, and the words we use in UX writing can convey that personality to the user. It's about creating a consistent tone and style that reflects the brand values and resonates with its target audience.
That makes sense. It's like those brands are talking directly to you like a friend and building a relationship through those interactions.
Precisely. And a skilled UX writer will be able to capture that brand voice and infuse it into every piece of content. From website copy to error messages to those tiny bits of microcopy that guide users through an interface.
So it's not just about writing clear and concise instructions, it's about creating a brand experience that's consistent, engaging, and memorable.
Exactly. It's about making sure that every interaction a user has with the brand, no matter how small, reinforces that brand's identity and leave a positive impression.
This makes me think about another aspect we haven't touched on yet. Those different genres of UX writing. It's not just about writing website copy. It's about crafting a variety of content types, right?
You're absolutely right. There's a whole ecosystem of UX writing genres, each with its unique purpose and style. We've got everything from onboarding experiences that welcome new users to help guides that provide step-by-step instructions to those persuasive calls to action that encourage users to take a specific action.
Right. And I bet each genre requires a slightly different approach and skill set. I've always wondered about those tiny bits of text called microcopy. Those little phrases that guide users through forms and menus. They seem so small, but I bet they have a big impact.
You're spot on. Microcopy is all about clarity and conciseness. It's about using those small spaces strategically to provide just the right amount of information at the right time. A well-crafted microcopy can make a user's experience smoother, more enjoyable, and even more delightful.
It's amazing how those small details can make such a big difference in the overall user experience. It makes me realize just how much thought and intention goes into every aspect of UX writing.
It really does. And speaking of intention, let's dive into another crucial aspect of UX writing, the content creation process. It's not just about sitting down and writing off the cuff, it's about following a structured approach, right?
Absolutely. I imagine there's a whole roadmap or framework that UX writers use to plan, organize, and execute their content strategy. It's like building a house. You wouldn't just start laying bricks without a blueprint, right?
You nailed it. A content creation framework helps UX writers create the right content for the right audience at the right time. And a typical framework will include several key stages: defining goals, conducting audience research, brainstorming content ideas, creating a content calendar, and then promoting and analyzing the content once it's published.
Okay, that makes sense. So it starts with understanding the why behind the content. What are we trying to achieve with this piece of writing? Is it to inform, educate, persuade, or simply entertain?
Exactly. Once we have a clear understanding of our goals, we can move on to audience research. Who are we trying to reach with this content? What are their needs, interests, and pain points? What kind of language resonates with them?
It's back to that idea of empathy, putting ourselves in the user's shoes and understanding their perspective.
You got it. And once we have a solid understanding of our audience, we can start brainstorming content ideas. What topics are relevant to them? What formats will engage them? Should we create blog posts, videos, infographics, or a mix of different content types?
This is where things get fun. It's time to unleash our creativity and come up with those attention-grabbing headlines and engaging stories.
Exactly. But even in the brainstorming phase, it's important to keep our goals and audience in mind. We want to make sure our content ideas are aligned with our overall strategy and will resonate with our target users.
Okay, so it's a balance of creativity and strategy. We need to let our imaginations run wild, but also make sure we're staying on track and meeting those goals.
Precisely. And once we have a solid list of content ideas, we can move on to creating a content calendar. This helps us plan and schedule our content in advance, ensuring that we're publishing consistently and staying on top of our workload.
A content calendar sounds like a lifesaver. It's a way to stay organized and avoid those last-minute scrambles to create content. It also helps ensure a consistent flow of content, which is essential for keeping those readers engaged, right?
Absolutely. A well-structured content calendar will include details like the topic format, target audience, publication date, and even the calls to action for each piece of content. It's like a roadmap for our content strategy, keeping everyone on the same page and ensuring a smooth and efficient workflow.
Now let's talk about something that's essential for any content creator. Measuring success. How do we know if our content is actually hitting the mark and achieving the desired results? It can't just be about gut feeling, right?
You're absolutely right. We need concrete data to tell us what's working and what's not. That's where the concept of key performance indicators, KPIs, comes in. KPIs are measurable values that help us track progress towards our goals.
So they're like the gauges on a dashboard telling us how our content is performing in real time.
Exactly. And when it comes to UX writing, there are a few key KPIs that we should be focusing on. First, there's engagement. Are people reading our content? Are they commenting and sharing it? We can track metrics like page views, time on page, and social media shares to gauge engagement.
So we're looking for signs that people are finding our content interesting and valuable, not just skimming it and moving on.
Exactly. Next, there's conversion. Are people taking the desired actions after reading our content? Are they signing up for newsletters, downloading ebooks, or making purchases? We can track conversion rates to see how effective our content is at driving those actions.
It sounds like we're trying to measure the persuasive power of our content, its ability to guide users towards specific goals.
You got it. And another important KPI is customer satisfaction. Are people happy with their experience? Are they likely to recommend our brand to others? We can use surveys and feedback forms to measure customer satisfaction.
So it's about gauging the overall impact of our UX writing on customer happiness and brand loyalty. It's not just about getting people to click a button, it's about creating a positive and lasting impression.
Exactly. And remember, KPIs are only as valuable as the insights we can glean from them. It's not just about collecting data, it's about analyzing those numbers, identifying trends, and making data-driven decisions to improve our content strategy.
Okay, so data is our friend. It helps us understand what's working, what's not, and how we can continuously improve our content to create those exceptional experiences.
Absolutely. Data empowers us to make informed decisions and ensure that our content is truly resonating with our target audience and achieving our business objectives.
This is all fascinating. It makes me realize just how much goes into creating effective UX writing. It's a blend of creativity, strategy, empathy, and a deep understanding of data and user behavior.
You summarized it perfectly. It's a multifaceted field that's constantly evolving, which makes it both challenging and incredibly rewarding. It's a multifaceted field that's constantly evolving, which makes it both challenging and incredibly rewarding.
Now, speaking of challenges, let's tackle one that I'm sure every UX writer has faced. Those tricky legal notices. How do we make those long, often complex documents more user-friendly without sacrificing accuracy or legal compliance?
That's a great question, and it's a challenge that requires a delicate balance between legal requirements and user needs. The key is to use plain language, clear headings, and concise sentences to break down complex information into digestible chunks. Think of it like translating legalese into everyday language that anyone can understand.
So it's about making those legal notices as painless as possible for the user without compromising on the necessary information.
Exactly. And sometimes a well-placed visual or illustration can go a long way in making those legal notices more engaging and less intimidating.
That makes sense. It's about using every tool at our disposal to create a user-friendly experience, even when dealing with complex legal content.
Precisely. And remember, it's always a good idea to have legal notices reviewed by a qualified attorney to ensure compliance.
That's a must. We don't want to end up in legal hot water because of poorly worded content. Now let's shift gears and talk about something a bit more creative. The world of UX writing for different platforms and devices. It's not just about websites anymore. It's about crafting experiences for everything from smartphones to smartwatches to those voice-activated assistants that are popping up everywhere.
You're absolutely right. The landscape of UX writing is constantly expanding, and we need to be adaptable and versatile to keep up with the latest trends and technologies.
So it's not just about writing for the desktop anymore. It's about understanding how users interact with content on a variety of devices and tailoring our writing to those specific contexts.
Exactly. Writing for a smartphone screen is very different from writing for a large desktop monitor. We need to be mindful of things like screen size, touch interactions, and even the user's environment. Are they on the go in a noisy place or in a quiet setting where they can focus?
That makes sense. It's like we're becoming UX writing chameleons, adapting our style and approach to blend in with each platform and device.
That's a great analogy. And we also need to be mindful of the different ways people interact with devices. Are they using touchscreens, keyboards, or voice commands? Are they using assistive technologies like screen readers? Our writing needs to be accessible and intuitive for all users, regardless of their abilities or how they choose to interact with technology.
Okay, so it's about being adaptable, versatile, and inclusive in our approach to UX writing. We need to be aware of the context, the platform, the device, and the user's needs to create truly effective experiences.
Precisely. And as technology continues to evolve, I think we'll see even more exciting opportunities for UX writers to create innovative and engaging experiences across a wide range of platforms and devices.
This makes me think about another exciting development in the world of technology: augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR. How do you see UX writing playing a role in those immersive experiences?
That's a great question. AR and VR are still relatively new, but they hold incredible potential for creating truly immersive and interactive experiences. And UX writing will play a crucial role in guiding users through those virtual worlds, providing instructions, feedback, and even narrative elements that enhance the overall experience.
Wow, that sounds fascinating. It's like we're becoming world builders, crafting the language that shapes those virtual environments and guides the user's journey.
Exactly. And just like with any other platform or device, we need to think about the user's context, their needs, and the specific challenges of those immersive environments. For example, if someone is wearing a VR headset, we need to make sure our text is easy to read and doesn't induce motion sickness.
Right. It's about anticipating those potential challenges and crafting content that's both engaging and comfortable for the user.
Precisely. And I think we'll see a lot of innovation in UX writing for AR and VR in the coming years. It's a new frontier that's ripe for exploration.
Speaking of exploration, let's dive into another crucial aspect of UX writing research. It's not just about writing off the top of our heads, it's about gathering information, understanding our users, and using those insights to inform our content strategy.
You're absolutely right. Research is the foundation of effective UX writing. It's about understanding our users, their needs, their pain points, and how they interact with our products or services.
Okay, so research is like our compass guiding us toward creating content that's truly user-centered.
Exactly. And there are various research methods that UX writers can use, from user interviews and surveys to usability testing and even analyzing website traffic data.
Wow, it sounds like UX writers are part detectives, part psychologists, and part data analysts.
You're not wrong. It's a multifaceted role that requires a blend of analytical and creative skills.
Now let's talk about a specific type of research that can be incredibly valuable for UX writers' user interviews. It's about talking directly to our users, understanding their experiences, and gathering those golden nuggets of insight that can inform our content strategy.
User interviews are a goldmine of information. They allow us to get direct feedback from our users, understand their perspectives, and identify any pain points or areas of confusion they might be experiencing.
So it's about having those one-on-one conversations, listening to our users' stories, and really understanding their needs and motivations.
Exactly. And a well-conducted user interview can reveal incredibly valuable insights that we might not get from other research methods.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to conduct my first user interview. What are some tips for making sure it's a success?
First, it's important to define your goals for the interview. What are you trying to learn? What questions will help you gather those insights?
So it's about having a clear purpose in mind before we even start talking to users?
Exactly. And next, you want to choose the right participants. Make sure they represent your target audience and have relevant experience with your product or service.
It's about finding those people who can provide the most valuable feedback, those who can really shed light on how users are interacting with our content.
Right. And once you have your participants, it's important to create a comfortable and welcoming environment for the interview. Let them know that their feedback is valued and that there are no right or wrong answers.
So it's about creating a safe space where users feel comfortable sharing their honest thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. And during the interview, be sure to ask open-ended questions that encourage users to elaborate on their experiences. Avoid leading questions that might bias their responses.
Right. It's about letting the user lead the conversation, listening attentively, and probing deeper to understand their perspective.
You got it. And finally, be sure to thank your participants for their time and let them know how their feedback will be used to improve the user experience.
It's about showing appreciation for their insights and letting them know that their feedback is truly valued.
Exactly. User interviews are a powerful tool for any UX writer who wants to create content that's truly user-centered.
Now let's talk about another valuable research method: surveys. Surveys allow us to gather feedback from a larger group of users, getting a broader perspective on their experiences and preferences.
Surveys are a great way to collect quantitative data, those hard numbers that can help us identify trends and patterns in user behavior. They're also a good way to get feedback on specific aspects of our content, like the clarity of our instructions or the effectiveness of our calls to action.
Okay, so surveys are like our data gathering superheroes, helping us collect those valuable insights from a larger pool of users.
Exactly. And when crafting survey questions, it's important to be clear, concise, and avoid any leading language that might bias the responses. We want to make sure our questions are easy to understand and elicit honest and unbiased feedback.
Right. It's about making the survey as user-friendly as possible, just like we would with any other piece of content.
Precisely. And once we've collected our survey data, we can use it to identify areas for improvement, track progress over time, and make data-driven decisions about our content strategy.
So surveys are not just about collecting data. They're about using that data to inform our decisions and create better experiences for our users.
You nailed it. Surveys are a powerful tool for any UX writer who wants to gather insights from a larger audience and make data-driven decisions about their content.
Now let's talk about a research method that's a bit more hands-on: usability testing. Usability testing involves observing users as they interact with our products or services, identifying any usability issues or areas of confusion.
Usability testing is like putting our content through its paces in the real world. It allows us to see how real users interact with our content, identify any roadblocks or points of friction, and gather feedback on how to improve the overall user experience.
So it's like having a front row seat to the user's journey, observing their every move and seeing where they get stuck or frustrated.
Exactly. And there are different ways to conduct usability testing, from in-person lab studies to remote online testing.
Okay, so we can tailor our approach to usability testing based on our resources and the specific insights we're trying to gather.
Precisely. And during usability testing, we're looking for things like errors, hesitations, and expressions of frustration. We're also paying attention to how long it takes users to complete tasks and whether they're able to achieve their goals efficiently.
So it's about observing both their actions and their reactions, gathering both quantitative and qualitative data to get a complete picture of the user experience.
Exactly. And the insights we glean from usability testing can be incredibly valuable for informing our UX writing decisions. We can use that feedback to improve the clarity of our instructions, simplify our language, and make our content more user-friendly.
Okay, so usability testing is like our reality check, helping us ensure that our content is truly meeting the needs of our users in the real world.
You got it. Usability testing is an essential tool for any UX writer who wants to create content that's both effective and enjoyable to use.
Now let's talk about a research method that's often overlooked, but can be incredibly valuable: analyzing website traffic data.
Website traffic data is like a treasure trove of insights. It can tell us which pages are getting the most views, how long people are staying on each page, where they're clicking, and even where they're abandoning their journey.
Wow, it's like having a digital map of user behavior, showing us exactly how people are navigating our website and where they're getting lost or disengaged.
Exactly. And by analyzing this data, we can identify areas for improvement optimize our content, and make sure we're guiding users towards their desired goals.
Okay, so it's not just about writing great content. It's about understanding how people are finding and interacting with that content and using those insights to improve the overall user experience.
Precisely. And thankfully, there are tools like Google Analytics that make it easy to track and analyze website traffic data.
Right. It's like having a digital detective on our side, helping us unravel the mysteries of user behavior and make data-driven decisions about our content strategy.
That's a great way to put it. And by combining website traffic data with other research methods like user interviews and usability testing, we can get a truly comprehensive understanding of our users and create content that's truly effective.
Now let's talk about something that's essential for any UX writer who wants to create content that's both engaging and persuasive. The art of crafting compelling calls to action.
Calls to action are those crucial phrases that encourage users to take a specific action, whether it's signing up for a newsletter, downloading an ebook, or making a purchase.
So they're like those little nudges that guide users towards the desired outcome.
Exactly. And a well-crafted call to action can make all the difference in converting a casual reader into a loyal customer.
Okay, so let's say I'm writing a landing page for a new product and I want to create a call to action that really grabs attention and motivates people to click that Buy Now button. What are some tips for making that call to action irresistible?
First, it's important to use strong action verbs that create a sense of urgency and excitement. Words like get, discover, claim, and join are much more compelling than passive phrases like learn more or click here.
So it's about using language that inspires action and makes the reader feel like they're taking charge.
Exactly. And next, you want to highlight the benefits of taking action. What will the user gain by clicking that button? Will they save time, money, or effort? Will they gain access to exclusive content or special offers?
It's about painting a picture of the positive outcome, showing the user what's in it for them if they take that next step.
Right. And you also want to make your call to action visually prominent. Use contrasting colors, bold fonts, and white space to make it stand out on the page.
It's like putting a spotlight on that call to action, making it impossible for the reader to miss.
Exactly. And finally, you want to test different versions of your call to action to see what performs best. Use A/B testing to compare different word choices, button colors, and placements to see what drives the most conversions.
So it's about using data to inform our decisions and continuously optimize our calls to action for maximum impact.
You got it. Crafting compelling calls to action is a blend of art and science, and it's a crucial skill for any UX writer who wants to create content that drives results.
This has been an incredible journey through the world of UX writing. We've covered so much ground, from the fundamentals of UX writing to the importance of research, the power of calls to action, and even the challenges of legal notices. It's clear that UX writing is a multifaceted field that requires a blend of creativity, empathy, strategy, and a deep understanding of user behavior.
Absolutely. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of UX writing, I want to emphasize one key takeaway. Never underestimate the power of words. In the digital landscape, words are the bridge between your brand and your users. They can inform, guide, delight, and inspire. So as you embark on your UX writing journey, remember to approach every word with intention and purpose.
That's a great note to end on. To our listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and empowered you to explore the fascinating world of UX writing. Until next time, happy writing.